Samir, thank you for having me. I guarantee you we will be out of here by 9:30. And it won't be 9:20 either. Look, a couple of things. First of all, there are a number of you in the room that are customers of ours. And for those of you who don't know, we were R.R. Donnelley. We spun off in October 16 and became LSC. But we are, those of you who've been around for a while, you know LSC is the old R.R. Donnelley plus office product. So a number of customers here, thank you for giving us the opportunity to work with you. Show of hands here, how many journalist students are here? So what I'd like to do, Samir, there's a number that left in the back. I'd like to tell all them here that they get an extra credit or 2 credits towards their graduation, and those that left don't get any. That would make them stay. Look, you are. Yeah, there's some smiles in the back. Look, you are, and I don't say this lightly. Given the world and what Linda and James went through and Susan, look, you're the future protectors of what we have. You know, what we've seen take place with fake news and the impersonators and what James and Linda, it's about trust. And our industry is about trust. You know, we can't afford to lose that. And what you're going into and what you're going to do is basically about trust. And I think at the end of the day, as what we're going through now in this country, you're seeing that what everybody took for granted and what everybody thought was the way we were going to go with electronic distribution of content is being called into question. And as you come out and as you graduate and get out into the workforce, that is going to become more and more important. I do agree the exponential that James showed up there is going to happen, but how is it? It could happen the opposite way too. You know, Gutenberg was 15th century, so you know it's near and dear to my heart. The printing press, obviously, so I know him pretty well. But again, those things that we just talked about are key to what we've got going on as an industry. You all know print is important. You know, digital is also needs to be there, and we need to be smart with it as we talk about it. And I will, you know, come back and address that really quickly. But just understand what you're going into, what you're going to do, you know, isn't going to be easy, but at the same time is going to be vital to what we are, you know, as a society, because we don't know what's true. We don't know what's fake. The left is over here. The right is over here. There is nothing. We need a source that's out there. Encyclopedias were great. You know, some of you probably know what an encyclopedia is, unfortunately. But you know, they were given as gospel. You know, Wikipedia. You can change a Wikipedia page anytime you want to change it. Whatever the fellow's name is, Gustafer or whatever he was, what he was doing out there, you know, that can take place. We need to have trusted information, trusted content as we go through things. So that is my little preamble to what we have. But again, these points have all been emphasized, so it's kind of nice going last because Linda and James have already gone through it for me, so this is pretty good. And we didn't have a conversation before we got here today to go through it. But it's trusted, it's reliable. You know, it's given as being something that you can go ahead and take to the bank as you go through things. The publishers that are here, the magazine publishers that are here, they know each and every day they've got to go ahead and put out content that represents all of this that you see up here. Data is important. You know, data is critical. But data has always been critical. The thing that scares me with this Facebook incident that's going on, I shouldn't call it an incident, but what's going on Facebook is that the users actually thought their content wasn't being used for advertising. I mean, if you click on, I want to go to the Amalfi Coast, 2 minutes later, you've got pictures of the Amalfi Coast on your website. That data is being sold, that data is being out there. The electronic voices that we have now, that whether it's on or off, I would take it as being that data is also being collected. So I mean, that is out there now. How we go about, how that gets used, how should we get paid for that? Should the consumer be paid for the use of that data? I think when who's ever going up to MIT, you know, that's a big conversation there as far as, you know, should our data be used in such a way where it's not monetized for us? You know, print, you need to be both print and you need to be digital. You know, in my mind. I mean, The Economist is able to do it, but again, unbelievable content. I think the more that you play in both, the better off it's going to be for your brand. The consistency with your brand is going to be key as you go through it. You know, for us, you can't just be a printer. You know, if you are, you're probably, you know, those of you that are in the room that are printers know that you have to do more than just that. You know, it's pennies, nickels, and dimes that add up at the end of the day, but you have to have more than just, you know, ink on paper, so to say, to continue to stay in business. And I think as we think about it, we look at things, you know, that go all the way from warehousing, kitting, fulfillment, inventory management, logistics. This is all things that, you know, publishers never had a printer. Publishers were their own printer back in the day, way before me, believe it or not. Publishers also did their own distribution. All those have been outsourced. And what other things are going to be outsourced to help publishers go ahead and turn their fixed cost into variable cost so that they can worry about content, they can pay journalists, they can go ahead and have the right amount of content that takes place. And this is something where I'm pretty much going to end on, but these are two things that where we look at, and we talked earlier about voice activation. You know, we want to make it such that whether it's a magazine or a catalog, if you have, whether it's Alexa or Google or whatever it may be, that you can sit and read that magazine and be it interactive with a voice device. You know, ask questions about the article so we can download all the content you have and then be able to sit there and use all parts of your brain as you go through it and speak to a device that will come back to you. The company on the left here, NA is how you say it, is how you say it. You know, we're developing with them the ability to go ahead and do that. So that, again, you don't have to go to another device. You don't have to go to your iPhone. You don't have to go to your laptop. You can go ahead and ask, and then you can also do the ordering as well. So as you think about what replaces and what takes place, as we get bigger and bigger, not only in e-commerce, but as we look to go ahead and have that engagement be more interactive, here's one way that we're thinking about with publishers go through. The company on the right, StoryFit, basically AI related. You know, what articles should have certain advertisements next to them? You know, are there certain advertisements that trigger words for people in articles that make sense, that to where maybe there is a higher buy rate as a result of that? Those things are out there. You know, the algorithms that exist today are endless as you think about things. So again, this is something as you go through your daily lives, know that there's people out there that are trying to figure out how we can go ahead and combine. The tagline that we have for today, you know, print proud, digital smart for the next couple of days. This is what is all about and how we can go ahead and make sure that we continue to stay vibrant. You know, this industry has survived the telephone, Morse code, the TV, the internet, the web, e-readers. So I think we're going to get through this, but it's not going to be easy, and we're going to have to continue to evolve and make sure that we stay front and center as we go through everything. And then finally, this is my ending here about what we need to move forward and as we go forward and to do things. Again, I'm honored to be here, to be part of this, to present, appreciate everything you do for the industry and have done, and look forward to hopefully everybody has a great couple of days, and anybody who wanted to go watch a hockey game or the women's softball game down at the field, you may be able to catch the end of it, but thank you for having me.
Just to clarify, the students who left are the high school students, because we had a group of high school students that tomorrow at 7 o'clock they have to be in school, so they don't have the extra hour. And we have two groups of students here. And I'm sure when you ask about the journalism students, they didn't raise their hands because they are IMC students. We have two programs in the school in the magazine program. We have the integrated marketing communications, and we have the journalism students. So those of you who are integrated marketing communications, would you raise your hand? Those of you who are in journalism, would you raise your hand? Those of you who are just in school, would you raise your hand? I think it was a marvelous opening night. Linda, thank you very much for your presentation. James and Tom. It's, as you can tell, what we are doing at the Magazine Innovation Center is mainly preparing, as God rest her soul. She actually, I mean, I don't take any credit for that phrase that Jennifer Reeder, who we've lost this year, coined the phrase that the students in this program are the future industry leaders. And that's the only place where the future industry leaders get to mingle with the current industry leaders. So for the current industry leaders, I'm very thankful for you, for your time, for your money, for your, I mean, it's rare to go, I mean, you invite me to go and speak to your magazine, I tell you this is how much I charge. I invite you to come speak at our Magazine Innovation Center and I tell you, and by the way, you have to book your own ticket. And you can be a sponsor also, you can give me money to come speak. But because we are an educational entity, we are not for profit. But in all honesty, in all reality, I mean, just putting those two groups together, the future industry leaders with the current industry leaders, is what brings joy to my heart. It's what brings joy to the university, to the Meek School of Journalism and New Media, to the Magazine Innovation Center, and to the industry as a whole. So again, millions of thanks for everything you do, for all your encouragement, for your visit, for everything we've heard tonight, and we are going to hear tomorrow and on Thursday. One final note, I was reminded by my two able assistants. I mean, all my students are my assistants, but I have to just like point you to two who sort of are like my right hand and my left hand. Angela Rogaski. Angela, would you stand? She's the woman that you probably received more emails from her and more text messages from her. And Anna Grace Uzri. Where are you, Anna Grace? And needless to say, I would not be here standing in front of you if there was not somebody like behind me backing me for all these years, just for the last like 41 years or so. My wife, Marie. Would you stand, Marie? When Marie had the restaurant, I was known as Mr. Marie. But for the rest of the work, she's known as Mrs. Magazine, so with a PhD in mathematics and higher education. Anybody have any announcements, anything to say? Let's see. We still have 20 more minutes on the schedule, and I can't dismiss you any earlier than you'll think I am like cheating you or something. I mean, the program says 9:30 Oxford and you're on. So I'll just speak for the next 20 minutes. No, but the Delta Trip, the publisher of Delta Magazine and the president of Democrat Printing on Thursday afternoon are going to introduce the Mississippi Delta. For those of you who have not been on the Mississippi Delta trip, it's a must-see, must-go. We have 2 charter buses. If you are lucky, Morgan Freeman will be there. One year he actually was there because we go eat at his restaurant. And all these editors started like tweeting, oh, we just saw God, we just saw God. And those of you who know me, I mean, I have no ego. I mean, I'm like such a humble person. And I said like, what's this Morgan Freeman business? I am the one running this show. No more Morgan Freeman at his own restaurant. I mean, it's like, but there's always that possibility. We never know when he will show up or not, but if he's in town, he'll be there. But that's on Thursday. But tomorrow we have a great event. We start, as I said, from 8 in the morning. In the evening, we have the Silver M Awards, which is the highest honor we give from the School of Journalism at the University of Mississippi for either a University of Mississippi journalism graduate who has excelled in the journalism world outside the state of Mississippi, or for a journalist who has excelled in the state of Mississippi, working in the state. It's the Silver M Award, and one of my students today asked me, he says, like, what's the Silver M? And I have to explain from the way good old days when we used to use hot type and the sliver of brass that we put to separate between lines. It's called the M, EM, capital EM. And this year's recipient is, I cannot be any prouder of that. But it's like Noel Turner, the editorial director of the Hearst magazine group, who was a former student of mine, and I think the second year I was here. And tomorrow we are going to honor Noel in the evening, and the Best of Meek Awards, which is all the students in the entire School of Journalism. They are going to receive their awards tomorrow. Following that, we are going to have dinner on the grounds. We have the most famous catfish in the state of Mississippi restaurant catering for us the Taylor catfish, as featured in GQ magazine and Southern Living and other magazines. They will be frying the fish out on the grounds outside the building, making homemade ice cream. We have some guitar music, some lovely country music playing, and we're going to have fun. And we'll probably stay till 9:30 in the evening. Then we start again on Thursday at 8 in the morning. It's just, earning buck for your money or something like that, whatever they say, I forget it. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to keep you here till 9:30. Please remember to take your bag. There's a lot of goodies from our sponsors, from our magazine speakers, and I will see you tomorrow. Oh, I didn't tell you where we are meeting tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, all the events are at the Overby Auditorium, which is on a diagonal walk. It's a 3 minutes walk. Just like you exit from the hotel, you turn left, and you go on a diagonal. You may veer a little bit to the right, otherwise you will hit a building. But we are the second building that you will see, and you will see the big sign on the side says Overby Center for the Study of Journalism, for the Study of Southern Journalism and Politics. And at 7:30 we'll have breakfast for those of you, unless you decide to eat here at the hotel. And at 8 o'clock sharp we start. And as I said, knowing from experience, you are going to hear the best storytelling person ever edited a magazine. And then we'll hear from Daniel Dujon about your brain on paper. And then we'll hear from Joe Harkin, the CEO of Issue, about your brain on digital. And on and on and on. The program is in your bag, so grab a bag. You can get the program and the agenda. Thank you very much. God bless. Enjoy your evening.